The upcoming welterweight unification match has a story that is not necessarily an uncovered truth, but mainly a story that has a byline that many people do not consider. And so when we talk about the upcoming match between Jaron Boots Ennis and Imantas Stanionis, everything isn't as simple as black and white, because though these men have their tales, the story that will be told on April 12th happens to be something for the books and history, and it is not cut and dried necessarily about who will prevail. Let's talk about this matchup, the significance of what's going on, and how the omission of certain facts are being carried along through this promotion. The welterweight championship of the world is on the line this Saturday, April 12th, when Imantas Stanionis and Jaron Boots Ennis face off in a unification match that will see what can be perceived as the welterweight division's two best fighters face one another. You see, the fight is going to take place at the Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City, New Jersey. When we talk about Jaron Ennis from the USA, many people are familiar with him. He's a fighter who has been spoiling for an opportunity against name opposition for a while, going back to even when the likes of Terrence Bud Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. were heading up the division before their unification for Undisputed. Ennis thought that he would be the next man up, but those two fighters had different plans for their futures. So Ennis became the IBF champion once the organization stripped the belt away from unified undisputed champion Terrence Crawford and awarded the title to Ennis. So he really didn't win it in the ring against a champion. Now the likes of Imantas Stanionis, he has been awarded the WBA belt, and they're not even talking about it very much. In fact, if you go online, he is not representing the organization in the build-up for the fight, but he is a belt holder as well. It is being advertised as this fight being for the IBF. So you have two men who are in this promotion with two titles on the line, but one fighter isn't being acknowledged. The other fighter didn't win his title in the ring either. And the Ring magazine is also a part of this promotion. So what gives? I'll tell you. The sanctioning bodies are hoping that someone stumbles their way into a situation that they develop a sense of, let's just call it the gold standard, where one can be recognized as the champ. And in this case, is in a high favored position for the likes of Ennis. They want Ennis to be the representative. It's very convenient. He's young enough at the age of 27 where he can represent. His record, which is 33-0 with 29 KOs, gives him a bit of a sense of experience, but not quite. You see, Ennis has fought good fights, and at 5'10 with a 74-inch reach, he's an orthodox fighter who can switch and turn to southpaw, has fast hands, decent footwork, and is able to be evasive when he was to against opponents. But that experience did not come from fighters that are noted in the division of welterweight. Yes, a lot of the guys that he has faced have not been at the top. When you talk about guys like in his last 3 fights, Karen Chakusian, David Avanesian, and Romain Villa, those are not names that are household names in the sport of boxing. And Karen also fought him earlier in January of 2023, along with, prior to that, it was Custio Clayton and Thomas Delorme. So none of the names are the guys that you would really think about being someone that he won against this guy, so he's battle tested and ready to go. But the same could be said of the Lithuanian Eimantas Stanionis. He's now 30 years of age and at 5'8 with a 68-inch reach. You see, Stanionis is a guy who has given boxing some thrilling matchups, but the guys he's beaten, a lot can be said about him. This orthodox fighter has come in, and his last 3 opponents, Gabriel Mastre, Ruzab Butayev, and Luis Collazo, were the type of names that a couple of them are familiar, but they're still not banging down the walls to state to you that you know who these men are. And he's been battle tested to the degree where he is the man. You see, the Butayev fight was a rough, tough, contested fight that took place in April of 2022. And Stanionis was able to pull out a split decision there. Butayev was a rough customer. I would have rather seen Ennis take on that fighter instead of Villa or Avanesian, because that would have given us something to compare about instead of the Thomas Delorme fights that both men have faced. Stanionis defeated Delorme in 2021 with a unanimous decision, and that was in April of that year. In October of the same year, Ennis stopped Delorme with a KO. So there's not much to measure by, because sometimes a guy can stop a guy and sometimes a guy can go a distance with a guy. And the triangle theory of them having met one another really means not much. But why Ruzab Butayev would have meant more is because of the style that Butayev fights. He's in your face, he's rough, he's dirty, he elbows, he low blows. He does everything except for kick you in the groin. And we saw Emantis tough that out and got a split decision out of it. Now Emantis, like I said, his record being 15-0 with 9 KOs, he's not gonna go in there and bang anyone out of the ring. But he'll be in your grill all night long. And he's a tough customer. Not only is he tough spirit-wise, internal resolve, but he can take it and dish it out. And you're just gonna have to defeat him. You're not gonna beat him. You're gonna defeat him if you have victory over him. So he is gonna be the test to Ennis that Butayev was to him, if you understand what I mean. And that's what makes this fight an interesting fight, with that type of a byline of which I spoke, which a lot of people don't understand, that these two men are cut from something that is defined by how they perform in the ring, and they bring everything along with them. And at the end of the day, it's the type of matchup that if you tune in and watch this, I guarantee it can go one or two ways. Either it's going to be a thrilling match where you say, oh my goodness, this is a lot tougher than I thought it was going to be. Or it's going to be an unbalanced, lopsided affair. And that could be either for Stanionis or Ennis, simply because of their backgrounds and their talents. Either man can shine brightly against the other on the night of. Do not mistakenly go into this thinking that it's only Ennis's way, because you may find yourself extremely disappointed. But what do you think? This is Stormy B-Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know what your thoughts are about these two men facing off, and what would you like to see? Leave comments and let's discuss further. Peace to everyone out there, and everyone please remain safe.